India's benchmark stock index Sensex rallied 390 points last Friday, capping its best week since February 2021 and scaling a 7-week high. The 30-share BSE index rose 4.3%, while the NSE Nifty 50 index was up 4.2% for the week as foreign investors plowed about $1 billion into equities. The breather came after quite a long time. Overseas funds have been on a selling spree since October 2021 when the Indian markets peaked. Since then, they have pulled out $35 billion from the markets, with nearly $30 billion of that in 2022 alone. Last week, foreign investors marked their first net buying in 16 weeks. This has also helped the monthly foreign flow tally turn positive for the first time since September 2021. Commodity prices have been on a downward slope amid fears of a demand slowdown. Meanwhile, economists see the US and Europe entering recession by 2023. Given this, investors believe that central banks may not be as aggressive in their monetary tightening approach as factored in earlier. Commodities like steel, crude oil, and palm oil have corrected sharply over the last few weeks. While Brent crude has shed around 13% from the year's high, palm oil prices have dropped around 30% from the peak. This has been comforting given the country's rising import bill. Further, with retail inflation moderating for a second consecutive month in June to 7.01%, investors are betting on hopes that inflation may have peaked in India.
Markets have corrected almost 15% from the peaks, not only because of the FI selling, because basically factoring in a lot of global challenges. Most of these events are now factored in. If you see, India, RBI has already taken sharp rate hikes. The Fed, with the upcoming rate hike next week, would be over with bulk of the rate hike. And we have seen now that the commodity prices globally have also started softening from their highs. So we are expecting that the inflation would have peaked out by now. And with the valuations being comfortable, with most of the events being factored in, they are now turning favorable for FIs to start buying again. FIs inflow should become stable now. So if you even look at the FI holdings, and that has come down from about 22% to about 17% shareholding for FIs within the Nifty 500 companies. So market is right now kind of factoring in a 75 basis points rate hike by Fed. And if they were to be so aggressive to do a 100 basis points rate hike, I think market in the short term will definitely react negatively. And we might see a few days of FI selling. But I think mostly the July rate hike is factored in and should not impact the flows in a big way. So worst of selling should be over from FIs. Mid caps had fallen sharply compared to large caps. And that is where I think the much bigger upside can be seen if FIs were to come back consistently with net inflows.
Amid an upbeat mood, US indices have risen 4 to 7% in the last 5 sessions as corporate earnings have fared better than expected. Among the big names, Netflix reported a lower fall in subscriber count while Tesla beat Wall Street's revenue estimates, despite the shutdowns in China. Of the roughly 90 companies that have so far reported numbers from the S&P 500 universe, nearly 78% have reported earnings above analysts' expectations, according to a CNBC report. Corporate earnings back home have also been better than expected. IT majors have delivered decent revenue growth despite a hit on profit margins, and the companies remain confident about a sustained demand momentum. FMCG major Hindustan Unilever posted robust top-line and bottom-line growth with much better volumes. Among others, HDFC Bank and IndusInd Bank also posted healthy numbers. U.R. Bhatt, the co-founder of Alphaniti Fintech, said that bad loans seem to be under reasonable control, adding that the demand for credit growth going up gives some of the larger banks pricing power. Economists expect the US Federal Reserve to opt for a 75 basis point rate hike rather than a large move at its next meeting as the likelihood of recession rises. A weakening US dollar, valuations turning comfortable in India, buying by foreign investors, hopes of inflation peaking, and that the US Fed may be less aggressive in hiking rates are helping Indian stocks stage a recovery.
If you like this video, share it and subscribe to Business Standard. For more news, views and insights, log on to www.business-standard.com. Do also follow us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Telegram and LinkedIn.
सब अच्छी दिख रही हैं यार, कौन सी खरीदूं? ये तो वही बात हुई, 4000 शेयर्स लिस्टेड है, कौन सा लूं? वो तो सबसे आसान है। तुझे 5 पैसा नहीं पता?
अब तो सबको पता है। 5 पैसा पर है 4000 स्टॉक्स की रिसर्च, टेक्निकल टूल्स और इन्वेस्टमेंट आइडियाज। डाउनलोड 5 पैसा नाउ।
अब तो सबको पता है, investing made easy and rewarding with 5 paisa. Investments in securities market are subject to market risks. Read all the related documents carefully before investing.